These kids can't read. They can't decode. They have no vocabulary, no background knowledge. I've never seen anything like it. They can't write a sentence. They don't know what state they live in. They don't know what region of the country they're in. They have no background knowledge. Most of them don't know who the president is.
Everyone is sick of Gen Alpha kids. So I talked about this on my main channel and the consequences of the iPad generation, right? These kids being raised by technology and phones and all these influencers. But this trend is kind of taking over TikTok right now. There's like an infinite amount of videos where teachers are just complaining about being unable to handle these rabid Gen Alpha kids, right? They're just being raised by like Skibbity Toilet, Among Us memes, and I don't know, Jack Doherty, Neon, these absolute degenerates like Aiden Ross. Not to mention their parents aren't that bright either. They're either from Gen Z or millennials. So these kids are turning out extremely rude, extremely stupid, extremely disrespectful, and they just can't follow simple instructions. So let's take a look at all these teachers complaining. Teachers sound the alarm on Gen Alpha behavioral problems. This is terrifying.
Young Gen Z teachers are talking about the poor behavior of Gen Alpha students, and some of y'all are finally starting to believe us when it comes to how much we've missed the mark on raising these kids right. Why don't we review some of the evidence from some of the other creators on this app who might be a little bit more of a relatable age?
This is my folder of crying teachers, and they are confused and frightened by the behavior of Gen Alpha. They're saying Gen Alpha is defiant.
Wait a minute, this girl looks like Sniper Wolf, doesn't she? Kinda.
Aggressive, disrespectful, and rude.
Having to teach and work with you guys as children has been the most traumatic experience of my life. They don't respect any authority. You ask them, can you stand in your designated spot? They're telling you no and shut up. They're throwing.
Oh my god, dude. I mean, I don't know about you guys, maybe it's the culture difference or something. I don't know if that's a normal thing, but in my school, you can't say that to a teacher. In fact, all the other kids will sort of beat you up if you try and, I don't know, be obnoxious. Now, obviously there were class clowns and stuff like that, and you'd kind of annoy the teacher by not listening or, I don't know, playing around in class or whatever, but you couldn't tell a teacher to shut up. Like, no, that's not allowed right there. You would get spanked, thrown out of class, and I don't know, you'd get a stern talking to, I'd say.
Things at each other. They're throwing things at other people, other classmates. You say, can everybody sit in their spot? I don't want to. I'm not doing that. You don't get to tell me what to do. You're not my mom.
Okay, now one distinction you might be thinking like, hey, wait, no, everybody does that as well. But that's like, that kind of happens in middle school and high school when you're going through your teenage rebellious phase, right? Obviously. But Gen Alpha is under 13. Like, these are kids under 13. And if kids under 13 are being like, hey, shut up, you know, to the teacher and saying, hey, I'm just not gonna listen to you ever. I simply don't respect you. That's a straight problem right there, because that is coming straight from the parents, or it's coming from the parents who handed their kids the iPad and coming from the internet somewhere else, right? They're adopting the same sort of personalities of all these creators they're watching, right? You know, your child might be a Hassan viewer, in which case I don't think there's any amount of brain surgery that could possibly fix that, right? You're kind of ruined for life. Same thing if he's a Neon viewer, you know? You just like, how can you look up to a guy who fakes his own death, right? It's a bit ridiculous.
I'm also 22 years old, and I will tell you, by far, we are doomed. Like, these kids do not care. Like, I have kids, all they want to do all day long is get high. Like,
I need to ask millennials.
Get high. Okay, I mean, wait, get high. Are we talking like 12-year-olds want to get high or something? Or is he talking about it in a metaphorical sense? Because maybe he's referring to Gen Z here. I don't know. If they're above 13, they're Gen Z.
Day long is get high. Like,
I need to ask millennials, why are your kids so awful? And more importantly, why do you think it's so funny? Your kids cannot read. They cannot write. They are ill-mannered.
I've been trying to sound the alarm about Gen Alpha students and their poor behavior in their classrooms, as well as their literacy problems, since May of last year. But because of my age and how I look, every time I make a video about these topics, I'll get people that have never worked with kids or have never spent a day in the classroom as an educator give me lines like, well, you're just old and jaded. If you don't like it and you can't handle it, quit and find another job. Kids have always been like this. Nothing's new in 2023.
Oh, it's definitely new. Okay, the sort of attitudes we're seeing, it's definitely something we haven't seen before.
Droves of people that are trying to blame it on COVID and trying to blame it on the lockdown. Us not having any sympathy.
how long does the effects of lockdown last, you know?
Your children are missing the mark on discipline. They're missing the mark on education standards. They're missing the mark on literacy. They're missing the mark on socialization. We can blame it on COVID. We can blame it on iPads raising our kids. We can blame it on the fact that kids don't socialize with each other enough. We can blame it on the economy and the fact that parents don't have time to help their kids learn how to read, or don't have time to take their kids to the park anymore.
No, bro. How can you not have time to teach your own child? That is your kid over there, okay? There is no level of excuses. Well, I have to work all day. Then don't have the flippin' kid if you're going to make him literally brain dead, you know? God damn it.
We can blame it on all of those things, or we can blame it on none of those things. But it sounds like we're starting to get into a consensus here amongst educators that we have a real problem. And some of y'all need to stop making excuses. You're just blaming the kids. You're just so mean. No, we are not. The problem is that we have this generation of parents that doesn't want to take accountability for not doing what they need to do to raise kids that are self-sufficient, that are socialized.
That's shocking. A generation that doesn't want to take accountability. Never seen that one before.
Or kind. And no, it's not the kid's fault. And why does it seem like teachers are the only ones that are talking about it? The people that are talking about it are the ones that work with the kids and not the ones that are raising the kids. Gen Alpha have been raised to believe that they are grown folks, that they can speak to whoever they want, however they want, that violence is the answer. Gen Alpha students are raised in a world that tells them that it's okay to be as nihilistic and individualistic as possible, that they don't have to care about anything or any...
True. I feel like selfishness is being encouraged so much. There's like, it's always about like freedom and personal, like, I don't know, go for what you want rather than, I don't know, respecting everyone around you while pursuing what you want. And I feel like it's cool to be mean. It's cool to be not mean in the sense of words. Like, it's cool to be, I don't know, violent nowadays. It's cool to disrespect your elders and shit like that. Well, whereas when I was in school, I mean, there was obviously people doing that type of stuff, but they were kind of looked down upon by most of the people. Like, maybe I got off scot-free. I got off lucky in my schooling experience where we didn't have too many morons there. Actually, we did have a few, but they're in high school at least. They're not kids.
One, that they can speak to anybody however they want to speak to them, even though they're only 10, 11, or 12 years old. Most importantly,
I can't imagine a 10-year-old mouthing to me,
believe that they are immune to
Wait a minute, I see it every day in my comment section. God damn it.
Them, even though they're only 10, 11, or 12 years old. Most importantly, they are being conditioned to believe that they are immune to consequences. That there are no consequences to their poor behavior, to
being
their
anonymous
rudeness,
on the internet,
to their lack of care in completing tasks and doing well in school. They just don't care. Is this us demonizing kids for fun?
I feel like all of them don't care about grades now because they all think they can be social media influencers because you know some 10-year-old is blowing up on TikTok or something's happening there because they're not like they enforce their TOS or whatever. What's the age on TikTok? Isn't it 13 or something? They don't really give a shit. I've seen tons of like kid influencers go viral all the time. And if not, it's like the parents who own the account or whatever and are still letting their kid pretty much operate it and stuff like that. I don't know, man. It's tough. Like, not everybody's gonna get to be an influencer. You still gotta focus on your goddamn studies, okay? It's very unlikely to be making it, especially now when it's even more saturated than ever before. You can argue that you have like more opportunities and shit like that, but come on, as an influencer, I will recommend, God damn it, unless you're actually already somewhat doing well in school or you believe you have the skills to do it, I don't know, bro, just don't bother. Especially if you can't even treat the people around you properly, like you're not gonna last very well on the internet.
We are frightened for these kids. And if you're sitting back saying, oh my God, poor babies, like, I wish you would just quit talking about them because you're just being mean and it's not even helpful because kids are just kids. You are doing them absolutely a disservice to their future. This is not just an old people complaining about young people problem anymore. Young people in Generation Z, young teachers who are seeing the same thing I'm seeing with my two eyeballs, are talking about the same thing. You can call it an old folks complaining about young folks to admit that there's a problem here. We cannot get anywhere near even talking about the solutions. We cannot raise a generation of kids that are this tuned out, that are this rude, that are this violent, to each other, to adults, to can't do it.
Goddamn, you know, okay, so I've made like 50 videos talking about how bad Gen Z is, but goddamn, I can't imagine the kids of Gen Z, dude. Oh my god, and that's kind of what we're seeing here. I don't know, I guess Gen Alpha would be like a mix of millennials and Gen Z kids, but like Gen Z kids would be probably very low, unless, I don't know, some people be, I don't know, having kids at 15. You never know at this point. My 4-year-old grandson can already spell his name. What is going on in public school? Parents who don't care about their education and teachers who can't teach. So my kids are in the 7th grade, and these are the same things they're telling me about their classmates. Kids arguing with their teachers, yelling at them, and overall disrespectful and disruptive. My kids are genuinely appalled by some of the classmates' behavior. There's a very real problem that exists, and we are losing teachers due to this type of behavior. I think there's a lot of narcissism in the air. Just, I don't know, being learned from the internet, being learned from their parents, and they just kind of think they're invincible. But you know, life will eventually smack you in the face, but hopefully it does when you're young, because when you're old, that's gonna be it's gonna be a much bigger smack, and you're not gonna be able to recover very quickly. So if you're dealing with any of these kids, I don't know, slap them in the face a couple times so they start learning, you know? Keemstar has weighed in here. Kids are dumb AF now. Keem is pretty much a Gen Alpha kid, I'd say, because this dude's got pissy at me for losing an Among Us, bro. God damn it. 40-year-old man.
These kids can't read. They can't decode. They have no vocabulary, no background knowledge. I've never seen anything like it. For context, for 8 years, I taught a self-contained program for significant language-based learning disabilities. Like, it was the most restrictive environment. It was the step before being sent to a specialized school. And my 5th graders with significant language-based learning disabilities could write better than non-disabled 7th graders can now.
Oh my god. When 5th graders who have disabilities can do better than non-disabled 7th graders. That's definitely a shift. That's definitely what I was talking about with the IQ drops happening, like an actual active IQ drop, dude. I don't know if it's a flex to be considered this stupid, man. This is not something to brag about. This is not something to be happy about with your generation. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. Not being able to read and write. Like, I don't know if these people think that it's useful, like, these are not useful skills anymore because they see people on social media. I think influencers are a lot of the cause of this, okay? Because, you know, obviously parents give them access to the internet, and then these kids learn from these influencers that, hey, I can be a complete freaking moron and still make shit tons of money on the internet. And I think that's the message being sent to absolutely every kid nowadays. Like, I don't know, I saw like some statistic or something. Now about like 85 to 90% of kids, their number one desired job is either YouTuber or streamer. And after that, we have like, I don't know, 5% of doctor or something like that. For guys, it's like a football player or something like that. Girls, it's like artist or something. But all of those pale in comparison to YouTuber streamers. So it's definitely so. I do see a connection. I guess we need to start promoting smart influencers rather than a bunch of idiots. God damn it.
They can't write a sentence. They don't know what state they live in. They don't know what region of
7th graders don't know what state they live in? Nah, bro. Ain't no way.
the country they're in. They have no background knowledge. Most of them don't know who the president is.
It's Kai Cenat.
They're coming to school with no background knowledge. They have very low skills. And yes, part of my job is to help them find those skills. And as a special education teacher, like, I'm obviously going to be working with students who require specialized instruction.
She's probably
but
really
I'm not
patient
talking
as
about
well.
specifically my students. I'm talking about the students in the grade, period. And this was the case last year. They can't take notes. They can't even attend to a video. They can't even attend to a 3-minute video clip. I can play it, I can tell them what it's going to be about, I can summarize what the video did, and not a single one can tell me what the video was about.
Oh my god. You can't even watch a video, dude? Okay, I can totally attest to this, okay? Being a YouTuber on the internet, and trying to get views for the last 5 years, you know? Jesus Christ, it is a struggle, because, like, you know, it's a struggle between going Mr. Beast route and just shoving shit on the screen every 2 seconds, because that's gonna up the retention and that's gonna give a shit ton of views. And like literally 2 months ago, if you noticed, I was putting SpongeBob images every like 3 seconds in my videos. And that's what went most viral. I was getting like, I got like 4 videos in a row which got 1 million views or something. And they were all because I spammed the SpongeBob images. But eventually, I couldn't watch the content, bro. I was like, this is not worth it. I'm making thousands of dollars here, but I'm also corrupting the attention span of these goddamn kids. So I was just like, okay, I gotta take it back a notch. And luckily, I'm in the commentary genre where the audience is a little bit older than most other genres like gaming or whatever. So I have a little bit of leeway there because I cannot spam the screen every 2 seconds and you guys will still watch because you want to actually hear some of the words I say. At least some of you will just got kind of fucking click off because got that skibbity attention span. Oh, this is sad, man. Not even a video. Well, like back in my day when you played a video in class, everyone was excited. Everyone would listen. They'd drop what they were doing and they'd look at it because a YouTube video in class was so freaking rare. It's like, damn, this is a movie here.
I am burned out. It's September. It has not been a full month yet. So let me tell you, you know what I'm talking about if you're teaching right now. I saw another teacher from another school across the street from our school walking to her car this afternoon, and she looked like she could barely walk to her car. And I was like, we're almost to Thanksgiving, like, you know, trying to be friendly. And she was like, just unloaded on me. She's like, I've been teaching for 34 years. I've never had it this hard. What is
34 years.
These kids, not in a bad way, but like, I don't know how to reach them. I feel like one lesson that used to take a day is taking a week now.
Okay, guys, I know the solution to all of this. You gotta play Subway Surfers in the background. That's the only way these kids are gonna learn.
And basically, whenever I say kids can't read, they are reading at either a kindergarten or a first grade level. When it comes to spelling, I'm seeing a lot of children who can't even spell the word said, for, mother, father in the 4th or 5th grade.
You can't spell the word for? Huh? 4?
Which makes me wonder what's going to happen when they're in middle school and high school.
The fact that I have
jobless
4th graders who cannot read independently
gonna attempt to become streamers and fail.
It's just like, one, what am I supposed to do? Because teachers are not miracle workers. If I'm required to teach 4th grade standards, the 4th grade standards do not include me teaching phonics. Now, I understand RTI, the MTSS process, and different safety nets like that, but doing that for 30 minutes a day is not going to solve the problem. So what is really the expectation? Are we just going to continue to fail the students and not teach them how to read? Like, what is
I don't know what the solution is, bro. I guess just keep failing them until they learn. I don't know, bro. I would not know how to deal with this, bro. This level of stupidity, at least I criticize it through the internet. I haven't had to deal with it IRL, you know, at least too much. Obviously, I'm not out there at the playground interacting with the kids. That would be weird. But kind of glad I'm not a kid nowadays, dude. I grew up when people were still smart and people were still sort of okay. I work at a high school in Canada. It's no better. You cannot fail students until they reach the 10th grade. What? You can't? You can literally hand in a blank piece of paper for every assignment up until the 10th grade and you'll pass. That's brain dead. You should be able to fail at any grade, I feel like, except maybe like preschool or something. Imagine being the kid that fails preschool. Ay, bro, you're in for a tough time. The vandalism gets worse every year. The entitlement gets worse every year. More and more teachers are quitting every year due to lack of support from the administration and the districts. Discipline doesn't exist anymore. The next generation is absolutely effed, bro. And honestly, you know, some of it is their fault, but a lot of it is not their fault. It's just the circumstances they're growing up in. What do you do when the internet is shoveling you garbage? Your parents are stupid as frick and they're shoveling you garbage and there's nowhere to turn. Like, compare the amount of sensible influencers on the internet versus the amount of idiots on the internet. Like, the idiots vast outweigh anything you could possibly think of. So it's really hard. It's really hard to prevent them from actually not going into some sort of rabbit hole where they think, like, I don't know, reading and writing is not a useful task, a useful skill to learn, you know? Raised by Dromler, bro. If you were raised by Keemstar, I'm sorry. I still go to school and definitely see this from other students. It's TikTok fault. I will be that old man dying on that hill. It's all TikTok's fault. It probably is, bro. It probably is. Bro, we got an automated bot who's somehow on point. Now that's horrible. I blame TikTok and the shorts these social media companies are doing, bro. Any trick to fry the brain cells of the kids. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you thought and how you will be raising your kids. That's pretty much it. Click this video. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.